we do still make 20 to 25 hours of long-form documentaries every year, and we are one of us and Nature are pretty much the most popular and most watched documentary TV series on American television, which we're very proud of. We have an annual audience over broadcast, probably about 35 million people watch Nova, but we also are constantly trying to expand and diversify that audience. And we have been working a lot on digital in the last few years, so that means for us both getting our long-form programs on digital platforms. Everything is available on pbs.org, but also working on getting our shows on other platforms. Our shows are now on Netflix and Amazon, and they're very soon going to be on YouTube TV. But along with those long form, we are making short form digital content, sometimes along with the shows that are related to the shows, but also completely original digital first content as well. And we do a lot of text reporting. So we are basically, our fundamental mission is, we see science as this key, important tool that all of us have to understand the world that we live in and solve problems, find solutions. And we feel everybody needs to have some kind of fundamental understanding of that. We have huge issues that we as a society have to face: climate change, artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, all kinds of medicine, environmental issues. And we feel everybody should be engaged in these conversations. And that's our goal with all the content that we create and get out there. We want to make it accessible and engaging for as many people as possible in all communities. So we are working now on diversifying our content. We want to have more storytellers from all communities who can tell the stories that are relevant to everyone everywhere. And we've started the last few years making more films that we feel, we still make shows about black holes and chemistry and biology and all of that important stuff, and we try to do it in the most engaging and accessible and fun way. But we're also making more shows at really, about social issues and where we see science is playing a key role in an issue that is affecting people's daily lives. And a great example of that was the clip you saw was this film, Emmy-nominated film called Poison Water on the Flint Water Crisis, which was produced and directed by Lou Smith.
My name is Lou. I'm Lou Smith. I'm an independent filmmaker. I've been doing that for a long time. I can't see you all, so I'm assuming you're smiling and you're very warm people.
Hold the mic to your mouth.
Hello?
Yes.
That'll make you warmer and smile better. I'm an independent filmmaker. I've been doing this for a long time. My company is Blue Spark Collaborative. The Flint piece was a really exciting story to take on, and for me it was different from what I would expect Nova to be excited and engaging in. It's a powerful, I don't know if you know the story of what happened in Flint, but one of the most powerful aspects of it for me was recognizing that the whole uncovering of the efforts of the government, the local government, to suppress the reality of the crisis that was happening there. The science that revealed that people were being poisoned by the water. That work was actually done by people who were in the community. It was done by Leanne Walters and other people who were collaborating with her. So by the time people like Mark Edwards comes in with his students to really find out how bad the crisis was, local folks had already figured this out. And that was a powerful sort of discovery for me in terms of doing the story. It's the kind of story that I like to do, in the sense that the work that I've done in the past is really concerned with issues of race, issues of American history, issues of inequality. And so this is a film that sort of takes science and puts it squarely in the space of societal concerns. I mean, we sometimes I think sometimes people think of science as being separated from us. It's something somebody does or experiences in someplace else. And the film makes it clear, and I think there are many other stories like this we like to uncover, where, you know, the work and the discovery and exploration of what is happening is done by the people in the community. So that was a powerful story for us to take home. Should I say something about the Cuba film?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that was a couple of years ago. The film that the last film that I just finished, it's still being finished. There are a few outliers.
It was done. No.
There's one or two pieces of footage that have been cleared. The title is Cuba's Cancer Hope. And this is a story of, again, another unusual story for me. We discovered that, like a lot of people, a lot of Americans, I didn't know that, and I don't think most of us at Nova knew, that Cuba, despite 50 years of an embargo by the United States, despite having a fairly fragile economy and being isolated in many ways, has developed one of the most extraordinary biopharma industries in the world, and is viewed by many Western and other countries as a world leader in cancer science. And it turns out that there's a research cancer center, Roswell Park in Buffalo, that is working with Cuba to bring some of their cancer drugs, one drug in particular for lung cancer to the United States. So this is a film that follows an American, retired American who has stage 4 lung cancer, who should have been dead, according to his doctors, 4 years ago. And he insists the reason that he's alive is he's taking these drugs, which essentially are illegal for him to go to Cuba and get. So the story of the film is really, how did this actually happen? How did this country that the US has sort of had this very volatile and aggressive relationship with develop over 30 research centers that are in some ways just extraordinary in terms of the science that they're creating? It turns out one of those drugs is coming to the United States and is already in a clinical trial, the first Cuban drug to be in a clinical trial. So we're exploring this, we're showing the science of the drugs, and we're also showing how the science is different from a lot of science that people have seen in terms of this kind of research. So again, it's sort of an unusual story that involves some political aspects that's outside the country. I think there are people who will be surprised by the narrative, and some people may be provoked by the politics of it. But these are the kind of things that we're starting to explore in terms of the series.
So Lou is one of the many independent filmmakers who make Novas. All Novas are made by independent producers. And then on the digital side, a lot of the stuff so far has been in-house. And Arlo Perez is working on that very exciting Antarctica series, which he can tell you about. I just want to mention, but we are actively looking to expand our digital team, not just in-house, but with independent producers as well. Because, you know, there are some stories that really can fill an hour, but there are many, many stories that are vital and important and will be engaging to people, but can be told in a shorter amount of time. And we're doing more and more of that. So Arlo, you want to talk about Antarctica?
Sure thing. So before I talk about Antarctica, I want to talk about the whole digital strategy in general. And the interesting thing is, whenever I talk to someone about kind of Nova in general, it always seems that they grew up kind of like watching the show. It's one of those things that everyone kind of knows. I mean, and sometimes it's great. You talk to scientists and they actually tell you that the reason they even started into STEM fields was that they grew up watching Nova, which is a huge compliment, to say the least. But as content has been changing and as people watch media differently, especially younger generations, it becomes a thing in which we have started to evolve and develop with that. We've embraced social media, and we are trying to become more of a multi-platform brand, which is a fancy way of saying that we've embraced text journalism. We have gaming platforms where we have a podcast in the works, and of course we have digital videos. We have two main forms of digital videos. We have the first, which we actually take an idea or something about the broadcast and create like these little digestible pieces that you can watch either on your mobile device, going to work, or you can watch it at work on Facebook in the corner. Sorry, Julia. Or you have a completely original series, which is what the Antarctica series is. And to tell you a little bit about that, first off, it will be premiered early next year. It will be on any digital platform, so in like YouTube or Facebook. And what that consisted of was my co-host Caitlin and I went down to Antarctica for a month, and the idea was to kind of be a stand-in for the audience, to kind of really show what it's like to do science, to work, and to live in one of the most hostile environments on the planet. So in a way, doing that, we got these really quirky, really fun, and sometimes like really touching footage that we managed to create into this really enjoyable series. So it's one of those things that really shows how Nova is willing to kind of experiment with just different strategies to reach out to a much younger audience and you know, really inspire a whole new generation to look into STEM as a possible field of interest. And I can say that myself. I'm originally from Mexico, and if you had told me that 10 years ago that I would be going to Antarctica, I hadn't seen snow. The coldest I had ever experienced was about like 45 degrees. I wouldn't even have like the context to imagine what Antarctica would be like. So really, it shows that Nova is taking risks and kind of trying to see, not only in the content, but even in the hosts, trying to see what different perspectives they can bring in and what different voices they can throw out, and just to be part of the air.
I think we're just about out of time. I just want to call out to Nigel Hamilton, who's here with us, who runs Nova Science Studio, which is a youth-focused program that we piloted in the last year to actually teach science journalism to kids in high school, especially in underserved communities. Because again, we feel like being able to talk about science and communicate science is a key part of our culture. It's really important for our future, and so we're investing in that in the next generation of science storytellers as well. So thanks a lot, everybody.